Well, I started out as a deckhand on one of the river cruises in Port Macquarie on the Port Venture, which was a 20-metre vessel that could carry 253 passengers. And I worked my way up to becoming the ship's master. The owners originally ended up selling, and Mandy and I took over the operation. I was the manager of Port Macquarie River Cruises. We attended the local church with our 3 boys. And I remember one Sunday I went to church and they said, "You should have been here last week." I said, "Why is that?" They said, "We had these people from New Zealand, from Radio Rima, telling us that we could have our own Christian radio station here in Port Macquarie." One thing led to another, and I got voted to be the president of Mid-North Coast Christian Broadcasters. So there we were, trying to juggle the family business of running the river cruise. Sometimes I'd do the brekkie show in the morning, and then we'd get back in at 3 in the afternoon, and then Mandy would go up and help program. Mandy was involved with the music programming at the time and writing the newsletter. I remember one morning I was doing the breakfast show and I got a phone call from Hal Short, who was the international president of United Christian Broadcasters from New Zealand and also the president of UCB Australia. And he asked me, would Mandy and I seriously consider selling up and moving up to Brisbane to take over the reins of UCB Australia. So it was a real challenge. And I remember at the time sharing it with Mandy, and Mandy said, if God wants us to move to Brisbane, then he's going to have to arrange for our house to be sold. At that time, it was almost impossible to sell a home. And I remember it was a Friday afternoon, and there was a knock at the door, and Nick Vazzolari from Rain and Horn Real Estate said, "Look, I'm really sorry to disturb you guys, but would you be interested in selling your home?" And I remember I said something like, "Am I on candid camera?" It was almost like God had heard our conversation. And one thing led to another, and we sold the house, and we found ourselves up here in Brisbane, getting poised to take over what was going to be a national Christian ministry. One of the scriptures that I really love to quote when I go to a church or to talk with a group comes from a very small, obscure prophetic book called Habakkuk. In the first chapter it says, "Look amongst the nations, be amazed and wonder and utterly astounded, for I'm going to do something in your day, declares the Lord, that you wouldn't believe even if someone told you." In the second chapter he goes on to say to write the vision down and to make it plain so that even when you're busy, that as you're running by, you'll remember it. And though this vision may take a while, to be patient and to wait for it won't delay, it will surely come. And they're 2 almost life verses for me, I guess, as the pioneer, the visionary for what we're doing. And I love to be able to boast in God of the incredible growth that we've seen in the last 10 years. I have a pretty simple faith, being an old ship's captain. I didn't imagine in my wildest dreams that the Lord was somehow going to use me and an amazing team of people from all walks of life to be involved in a ministry that was literally changing the spiritual nature and landscape of our country. It's really become a legacy. So many people now don't have to ask the question, is there a Christian radio station in my town, but what frequency is it on? Our dream of not only Christian radio, but Christian media for every Australian, particularly in these very uncertain, possibly last days before Jesus' return. We want to make sure that we're doing everything that we can to be obedient to his great commission, that this gospel of the kingdom will be broadcast to every nation before he comes back.